Neither economic science nor economic engineering actually exist. Academic economics is not a science. It is rather an offshoot of 18th century moral philosophy dressed up with elaborate algebraic expressions that give it the appearance of mathematical content. Economic policymaking is largely the application in normal times of motivated reasoning to justify a politically desired distributive outcome.
In many ways, modern economics is very unscientific because it excludes facts. It excludes what's actually happening in the real world. The radical remaking of our societies with this due to the extreme concentration of wealth in the hands of a few. The disruption of our political system by concentrated power and control, the disruption of our discourse by corporations like Google and Facebook, and of our commerce by corporations like Amazon. Economists have done zero to warn us about any of this. Zero.
If there is going to be a change in economics, it's probably more likely to come from the engineering side, from the policymaking institutions, than it is from the academic side, because policymakers have to face the consequences of their mistakes.
So there's an extent to which, because academics don't have, as Nassim Taleb will say, don't have skin in the game, they don't get abused by somebody who said, I followed your advice and I stood in front of TV cameras and said this.
I have no sympathy whatever for the term engineering. Engineering is for me a category of physics, chemistry, etc. A realm where natural laws dominate experiments, etc. Nothing like this is happening in economics. The behavior of people matters. Society react to shocks, and the outcome is very often not easily to be predicted. And I dislike this term engineering above all because it gives the impression that you can steer the economy like steering a machine, pulling a trigger here and there, and then you have the result.
Experimentation is good in economic science. And that explains why fields like experimental economics allows us to test theories under controlled conditions. We certainly cannot say the same for policy making. Absolutely not. And you say why? Because policy mistakes are costly and they can occur very fast.
I think economics has very much taken on board the mantle of a science that has objective knowledge, that gives black and white thinking and so forth. And I think that has been dangerous. I think economics is much more somewhere in the middle ground between objective measurement, dealing with issues of power and inequality, being enmeshed very much in politics and other gender, other types of issues within society.
I think economics as law is, to me, an applied science. It's one that would be better served by a more inductive approach that understands the world before ramming through some abstract models to try to reshape the world in some kind of normative fashion, to reimagine and re-engineer the world in light of certain economic models, rather than trying to understand patterns in the world and seeing how you can shift them.
I think one of the interesting things that COVID has done is it's busted out economic practice into something that's diverged from economic theory, but at the same time corresponded more with the reality of the world.
Really interesting to see how policy takes theory as a tool to work, but theory, at least the theory that I'm exposed to, has never looked at policy, said, okay, this is what actually happens in the real world, let's go back and change the way that we look at theory.
policymaking focuses more on data and economic data, and this is not really something that we interact with at all as students or in an academic setting. All of my classes, through my exposure to like academic economics, it's all been very rooted in theory and equations, and it doesn't, I don't even actually know if the theory informs the decisions all that much in economic policy making.